Daf Kuf Dalet Amud Beis, 5 lines from the bottom. We learned previously a brisa that brought down the nusach of Havdalah, and there was a machlokes about the chasima, the conclusion bracha. What do we make? What is the exact nusach of the concluding bracha? Now the Gemara will bring down the Moraim, the halacha l'maisa. How do we paskin as far as the nusach of bracha on the conclusion of Havdalah? Mechdam Maychas. What's the bracha, the chasima of the bracha of Havdalah? Rav says Mekadosh Yisrael. He says Mekadosh Yisrael, like we had the shita in the brisa before. Rav Yosef Rav Yehuda says Mekadosh Yisrael. Ushmuel Amar, he says Amavil ben Kodesh l'chol. He says the nusach is Amavil ben Kodesh l'chol. So, and that is, as we see from the Gemara and the Maskana, that's how we paskin. The Rishonim are bothered. That doesn't seem to be like any of the shitas that were brought down in the brisa. But the Rashbam says, and Tosfos brings it down as well, that, but in the Gemara in Chulin says that on Yontiv, that when we make Havdalah from Shabbos to Yontiv, we make a bracha that is a Mavel ben Kodesh l'Kodesh, so that the diuk is that that's a nusach of bracha, and a regular Motzei Shabbos, the nusach would be a Mavel ben Kodesh l'Chol. So that's how Shmuel says. He says a Mavel ben Kodesh l'Chol. A light law by Vitem Rav Yosef the Rab. He was objected strongly to the psak of Rab. Tanush made the Rishu ben Chananya kol ha'chaysim mekadosh Yisrael v'hamavel ben Kodesh l'Chol. He says that we make a combination of the two. So he says anybody who makes the nusach bracha is chaysim with mekadosh Yisrael and hamavel ben Kodesh l'Chol. Ma'arich lo yom v'shneisav. They lengthen his years, his days, and his years. But v'les hilchos hakavosi, that's not the halacha. We don't paskin that way, as the Rashbam says, because the Gemara bracha says that we're not chaysim b'shtayim. We don't have the chasima, the conclusion of the bracha, with two themes. So these are two separate, independent ideas, two separate themes. We are not chaysim b'shtayim. Ula ikla l'pumbedisa, he came to Pumbedisa. Amrle Rav Yehuda Rav Yitzchak Berei, Rav Yehuda said to Rav Yitzchak his son, he said, Azil, Amtalek called the peri, go bring for him a basket of fruit. So the way the Maram Halava explains it is that bring him a basket of food. And now it's Motzei Shabbos. He's not going to be able to eat the fruit until he makes Havdalah, and then you'll be able to see how he makes Havdalah, what nusach bracha he makes. So therefore, Azil Amtalek called the peri, and see how he makes Havdalah. Lo Yazal, Yitzchak himself did not go, but Shadar Le Abaya. He sent Abaya to do the shlichus for him. Kiyasa Abaya Amalei, when Abaya came back, so he came back and reported to Rav Yitzchak. So Amalei Kiyasa Abaya Amalei Rav Yitzchak said to him, Hey Omar, how did Ula say the Havdalah? Omar Le Abaya said to him, he made the following. He said, Baruch Hamavel ben Kodesh l'Chol. He said, Baruch Hamavel ben Kodesh l'Chol, Omar V'suloi. That's what he said, and not more than that. So according to the Rashbam learns, he said, that's all he said. Baruch Ato Hashem, Alkeinu Melech Hamavel ben Kodesh l'Chol. So he did not say an opening bracha and a concluding bracha. That's all he said. According to Tosfos, that doesn't mean dafka that's all he said, and there's different gersois and the different Rishonim, whether it's v'suloi and nothing else or not. But according to Tosfos, he said other things. He said Amav ben Kodesh l'Chol ben Or l'Chayshach ben Yisrael Amim, but he did not but he did not conclude with Baruch Amav ben Kodesh l'Chol. It was only an opening bracha and not a concluding bracha. He did not conclude Baruch Ato Hashem Amav ben Kodesh l'Chol. So according to both Rashi, Rashbam rather, and Tosfos, there was only one bracha made, not an opening and not an opening and a concluding bracha, just one bracha. Also, the Ravua, then Rav Yitzchak came before he came back to his father. He came back to Rav Yehuda, and his father said, "Amrle, hey Omar, how did Ula make the Havdalah?" Amrle, Rav Yitzchak said, "Ana lo yazla." He said, "I personally didn't go, but." Ana lo yazle, ana shadrisa la Abaya, but I sent Abaya. I sent Abaya to check it out. V'onali, and he reported that he said, Amav ben Kodesh l'Chol. That's what he said. Amrle, Rav Yehuda was upset with his son. He said to him, Rav Abenusa Damar, Vesararusa Damar, the gaiva that you had, and that the bossiness, that you were bossing around the bayit, the gaiva that you had, that you yourself didn't go. You thought it was beneath your dignity. And that you were bossing around the bayit, you sent the bayit to go. God, that's that caused the loss to you, that this will not be said over to you in your name. That this halacha that is mishmei de'ula, that it's Abaya, it will be Abaya mishmei de'ula. That Abaya, it's we said in the name that Abaya reported it, that this is the way Ula said the bracha. So this halacha will not be said over in your name, and you'll lose that schus. And as it says that even in the kever, that the people, if they say over halachas in a person's name in Olam Hazeh, he gets the schus even in Olam Haba. You lost that merit that the halacha should be said over in your name. How can Ula say that was the entire nusach of the bracha of Avdolah? The regular long form brachas, there's an opening baruch, there's an opening bracha, and there's a concluding bracha, there's a chasima. So that's where normally brachas have an opening, psicha, and a chasima. However, chutz birchas mitzvahs and birchas paris, so birchas mitzvahs and paris, which are a short form bracha, they have one single idea. So a bracha of a mitzvah is just with one baruch, it's not an opening and closing. So you make a bracha on a mitzvah, that you make a bracha, it's baruch lahadlik ner shel Shabbos. It's only one bracha, it's not an opening and closing. You make a berachos of Perez, Baruch Atah Hashem, Bori Priyais. There's no two brachas. It's not an opening and closing. So there, it's an exception. Ubrachos muchal haverta, and a bracha, even if it's a longer form bracha, but if it's muchal haverta, if it's next to another bracha, there's one bracha after the other bracha. There's two brachas in a sequence. Then the second bracha does not open with a baruch. According to Rashi and the Rashbam, the pshat is that the opening bracha of the first bracha is deemed to be, it's considered to be a bracha for all that's, for this bracha and all what's next to it, what's connected to it, what's samach to it. According to Taisus, he learns in Masechet Brachos that it's not the opening bracha of the first bracha, it's the concluding bracha, the chasima bracha of the first bracha, that is the next to the bracha that follows it. That's considered a bracha for what follows. So al kol panim, that's an exception, that you do not have both a psich and a chasima. Ubracha achrein b'krishma, and the bracha achreina of krishma, emes v'amun or emes v'yaltziv, that also there's no two brachas, it's only concluding bracha. The reasoning is also the same, that it's a bracha smucha l'chaverta, that it's connected to the opening brachas of krishma. But the chiddush over here is, the Rishonim speak out, is that Shema is not considered a hefsek. Meaning, really, this is just another example of bracha smuch l'chaverta. But why does it mention specifically the bracha rein b'krishma? To teach you that this is considered a bracha smuch l'chaverta, even though there's a krishma that's between the opening brachas and the brachas achreins and the latter brachas. Nevertheless, it's still considered a bracha smuch l'chaverta. Some of them start with a baruch, but don't conclude with a baruch. They have some of the brachas that, like birchos haperos, there's an opening bracha, there's no concluding bracha. And some conclude, but don't open with the bracha, that they don't open with the bracha, like the brachas of Krishma. So these, some have the opening and some have the closing. But Toiva Meit in the fourth bracha of benching, that starts with a baruch, but does not conclude with a baruch. That starts with a baruch. Now, even though you might say it's a bracha smucha l'chaverta, because it comes right after the bracha of Boina Yerushalayim, that is right after that bracha, you might think it's a bracha smucha l'chaverta. But it's not, because we don't consider that to be, because the first three brachas of benching are d'oraisa. The fourth bracha, Toiv U'Meitiv, is the Rabbanan. So we separate between the two, and we signify that with the opening bracha of a baruch. But it doesn't have both a beginning and end bracha. Strictly speaking, you would say it should have just the end bracha, but it's not considered a bracha smuch l'chaverta. But it doesn't end with a bracha either. It doesn't have a chasima. It doesn't have a chasima because even though the text is long, but it's one theme. So when we say that it's a long form bracha that needs both a psicha and a chasima, it's not only the length. It's not determined by the length of the words or how much is said, but is the determined factor, is it one theme or is there different ideas? So a long form bracha has not only one idea. A bracha, Bori Pri Eitz, is one idea, one concept. A long form bracha has different ideas. It has certain praises of Rebbeinu Shalom, bakashas, and different inyanim, and we talk about the things that Hashem created, etc. It has different themes. It's not just one idea. But Baruch Toiv U'Meitiv, even though it has many words, but it's one theme, so therefore it does not have both a psicha and a chasima, but it has, in this case, the psicha and not the chasima. So kasha leula. So it's a kasha leula because Havdalah should be considered to be a bracha, which is a long form bracha, which should have both a psicha, both an opening and a closing bracha. It should be considered to be a long form bracha, and yet he only made one baruch on it. Amar lach Ula will answer to you, no. Nami ke Birchas HaMitzvahs Dami. Havdalah is also similar to Birchas HaMitzvahs. Birchas HaMitzvahs my time. Why by Birchas HaMitzvahs do we say that you only have one bracha, you don't have both a psicha and a chasima? Why is that? Mishum doidoi. Because it's one expression of hoidah, of thanking Hashem. There's not different ideas. There aren't different ideas. There aren't different themes over here. It's one idea. It's one expression of hoidah, thanking Hashem. Hanami hoidoi. Havdalah also is one expression of hoidah. It's thanking Hashem. There's different separations that he makes, but it's the same theme. The theme of giving Shevach hoidah to Rebbeinu Shalom, that he makes all of these havdalahs, these separations. Ma'asheg ein kain, for instance, the Gabe Kiddush, there's different themes. There's the theme of Shabbos. Then there's asking Rachmim from Hashem. There's beseeching Hashem. So there's different themes. So here also Ula will hold, even though that in terms of the word count, for instance, it's not short, it's considered somewhat lengthy, but since it's one theme, he holds you make only one bracha.